The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system. We can build a new social contract, and we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset.
When confronted with it, some industry leaders and senior executives may be tempted to equate reset with restart, hoping to go back to the old normal and restore what worked in the past. This won't happen because it can't happen.
Democracy and free enterprise go out the window. Totalitarian government control slides in through the back door.
If no one power can enforce order, our world will suffer from a global order deficit. There has to be one unitary power that can enforce order. It is essentially a transformation. That is the key word, and the one that if they were being a little bit more honest in their marketing campaign, they would use. This isn't the Great Reset. This is the Great Transformation. This entire COVID-19 transformation map was just created in the last month. Well, no, actually, this transformation map has been around since 2017.
I reset my alarm clock every morning. But you are talking about resetting the entire world.
It is working as some sort of marketing tool for the very old ideas of centralization of control in fewer hands, globalization, transformation of society through Orwellian surveillance technologies, etc. This is the New World Order, just redefined. It's just a new label for it.
The plan involves replacing shareholders of big companies with stakeholders, who happen to be left-wing bureaucrats and climate change zealots. Replacing mum and dad, small businesses and private enterprises with big tech and big business. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy is just one of their marketing slogans.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us. Certainement dans les 10 années à venir. Et d'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans nos topos. Et à la fin, peut-être il y a une communication directe entre notre cerveau et le monde digital. Ce que nous voyons, c'est une sorte de fusion du monde physique, digital et biologique.
In case you missed it, this is about changing humanity at the core of what it means to be human.
His book, COVID-19, The Great Reset, contains lengthy discourse on how pandemics are known agents for major societal shifts. He asks, why should COVID-19 be any different?
On behalf of our center and our partners, the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome. The goal of the Event 201 exercise is to illustrate the potential consequences of a pandemic and the kinds of societal and economic challenges it would pose.
A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Some people only exhibit mild flu-like symptoms, not requiring treatment in a hospital. Alarmingly, those people are able to walk around and spread the virus, not realizing they are doing so. Experts agree, unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
The Event 201 scenario is fictional, but it's based on public health principles, epidemiologic modeling, and assessment of past outbreaks. In other words, we've created a pandemic that could realistically occur.
Schwab now predicts that the COVID-19 pandemic, which he says will last at least until 2022, will mark the final death knell of neoliberalism.
As we've said, the impact of a severe pandemic is not only a result of the disease itself, but really the cascading economic and societal consequences that would follow.
And the reason we called it Event 201 is we knew eventually one of these days, one of those events would be the big one. And that big one would really challenge our capacity to respond.
Epidemic risk has become a global strategic concern. I don't think we've ever been in a situation where we have had to respond to so many health emergencies at once. The question is, are we prepared to globally respond to the next major pandemic event? I don't expect the frequency of these epidemics to reduce. This is a new normal.
Those behind this scheme are adamant that there can be and never will be a return to normal, that life will never again be what it was prior to COVID. That is why they constantly talk about the new normal.
People assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again in how we are used to normal, in the old fashion. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
The slogan for the Great Reset is Build Back Better.
This year's G7 summit in Cornwall will be about how we build back better. The pandemic has been the biggest test the world has seen for generations.
Times are tough now in America, but we've been here before. We can do this. We can build back better. And I'm looking forward to getting started as soon as we can.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. Building back better means getting support to the most vulnerable while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs.
We should use the impact of the pandemic as an opportunity to build back better.
We need to build back better.
To build back a better world.
We have a chance to build back better.
They're all suspiciously singing from the same hymn sheet. Our political class are merely puppets for the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, and they're all following the same script when it comes to their approach to dealing with COVID, climate change, and the economy.
The repeatedly stated aim of these organizations is to deliberately use COVID as an excuse, to use all the political and authoritarian tools, as Prince Charles puts it, that are currently being used around the world to eradicate the virus, such as lockdowns, exclusion zones, forced closure of businesses, heavy fines, making protesting illegal, and so on, but now to eradicate carbon emissions.
And the time to act is now.
In the near future, the world may need to resort to lockdowns again, this time to tackle a climate emergency. Under a climate lockdown, governments would limit private vehicle use, ban the consumption of red meat, and impose extreme energy-saving measures. Fossil fuel companies would have to stop drilling. To avoid such a scenario, we have to overhaul economics and do capitalism differently.
We know now that the next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
This is them saying it, the people with the power and the means and the obsessional desire to do it. And they keep telling us again and again precisely what they have in store.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole.
A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. The only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
The Great Reset, den store nulstilling af verden. Men det er altså ikke en konspirationsteori, det er en rigtig agenda, som der skrives bøger om, laves reklamefilm til, og som der afholdes konferencer om, hvordan bedst bliver implementeret. Fordi det er der åbenbart en del indflydelsesrige mennesker og organisationer, som synes er en rigtig god idé. Om det så betyder, at det kommer til at ske, at vi får en ny samfundskontrakt og en helt ny verdensorden, hvor vi ikke selv ejer noget, men hvor vi aldrig har været lykkeligere. Det vil tiden jo vise. Men den vigtigste pointe, som vi skal holde os for øje her, er måske nok, at hvis vi en dag ikke må eje noget, så har vi jo ikke noget at forhandle med, og så er det dem, som ejer det hele, der bestemmer alle regler og sætter alle betingelser. Og hvis nogen oprigtigt ønsker det, hvad siger det så ikke om deres syn på os? Uden den private ejendomsret, så vil vi miste både frihed og uafhængighed. Så alene af den grund, fordi nogen officielt taler om et fremtidsscenarie, hvor vi helt eller delvis er frataget ejendomsretten, så bør vi tale højt om The Great Reset. Og så kan vi jo spørge os selv, hvorfor The Great Reset ikke er mainstream news, for når så indflydelsesrige og magtfulde personer ønsker sig så store forandringer, så er det vel nyheder, der er værd at skrive utallige forsider om. Men det er måske off limits, for hvis der kom fokus på det, så vil befolkningerne måske også synes, at de skulle have noget at sige. Vi er jo ikke blevet spurgt, vi har ikke stemt om noget, eller valgt dem, som står bag, så måske er The Great Reset elefanten i rummet, som ingen må eller vil tale om. PT kender jeg nemlig kun til én dansk politiker i Folketinget, der har anerkendt, at agendaen overhovedet findes, og haft mod til at have en holdning til det. Alle andre er underligt tavse. Den globalistiske drøm handler om, at alting smelter sammen i en stor melting pot, hvor alle skal være ens på alle måder. Men hvad vil det sige i praksis? Skal vi så være lige fattige? Skal vi have lige lidt rettigheder? De taler nemlig også om, at vestlige værdier vil blive testet til bristepunktet. Betyder det, at nogen ønsker, at de brister, og de forudser, at 1 billion mennesker skal relokeres på grund af klimaforandringer? Men hvilken andel er det måske så meningen, der skal lande i Danmark? Agendaen og nu kravet om, at alle skal lade sig vaccinere, bliver jo ikke mindre diktatorisk af, at det trækkes ned over hovederne på os i godhedens navn. Og er det ikke efterhånden tydeligt for os, at jo længere væk fra os, at magten placeres og beslutningerne tages, jo større er chancen for, at den retning, der vælges, gavner andre interesser end vores og vores lands.
Technology might also disrupt human society and the very meaning of human life. What will happen to politics in your country in 20 years when somebody in San Francisco or in Beijing knows the entire medical and personal history of every politician, every judge, and every journalist in your country, including all their sexual escapades, all their mental weaknesses, and all their corrupt dealings? When you have enough data, you don't need to send soldiers in order to control a country.
Vi får brug for